Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
This is Radio City Talk.
And I'm pleased to say that Mental Health Monday this week with me, Mick Coyle, kicks off with the launch of a brand new website, a website which might make a big difference to people's lives. For many weeks now, we've been talking up something called the Hub of Hope. It's something which Jake Mills has been working on for some time. He's a regular contributor to Mental Health Monday, and I'm very pleased to say he joins us in the studio for Mental Health Monday this Monday. Jake, it's great to see you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And we have been talking about the Hub of Hope for a while. This is a project which you've been working on for quite some time.
Yeah, years. Yeah, but I'm breaking my own embargo by being here and talking about this. We officially launch on Wednesday, but the Hub of Hope is real. It's live, and I can't quite actually believe it, really. But yeah.
In many ways, then, that makes this an exclusive.
It is an exclusive, yeah. I wouldn't give an exclusive to anyone else other than you, Mick, so you're welcome. No one else was interested.
So Jake Mills is with us. His charity, Chasing the Stigma, has been up and running for a number of years, and Jake has become, I joked about him being a poster boy last time he was on, of mental health and how you can change your life around after a tough time of it from a mental health point of view. You set up Chasing the Stigma, and you were doing work there, but you felt there was a need for something else, and you had an idea for something, and it was the idea of the Hub of Hope.
Yeah, what happened was I almost accidentally became this the spokesman, I suppose, in regards to mental health, following my own depression and suicide attempt, which is coming up to almost 4 years. And by speaking about it publicly, I was kind of overwhelmed by the amount of people who were coming to me asking for advice, and people who were saying, you talking about it's helped me realise I'm going through it. How do you get through it? How can I get help? I was getting people saying that they were feeling suicidal and they were, thinking about it, and wanted me to help them and to stop them. And that came from me just talking about not being well. That didn't come from me being trained or an expert. I was only an expert on myself, and I didn't really know what to do. And people were coming to me saying, where do I go? How do I get help? And I didn't know. And the more and more people who started doing that, the more I realised maybe I should know. Maybe I've got a kind of a duty to know the places that exist. And then I started learning about it. So this has been almost 4-year journey where I've been talking about mental health. I've been talking about my own personal story, but then I've been listening to other people and learning about the help that is out there. And I realised that there is a lot of help out there. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of organisations, charities, grassroots groups that exist that offer life-saving help to people, where it can be you just go and you're mixing with people who are going through a similar thing as you, and you can have a cup of tea and you can share your experience. But that is vital. But it was so hard to find them. It was impossible almost to know the help that was available around you. And that was not just from a patient's point of view or whatever you want to call yourself, a service user point of view, but also from the charities and the groups. They didn't know about the other groups around them as well. And it was kind of this idea that there's a lot of people working in silos doing really good job. And if we could just pull all those people together, then surely that can only be a positive. If we can remove those barriers and make help as easy as possible to find, then that's what I realised I wanted to do.
There's a kids' film which has the line, see a need and fill it. And I think it's robots, I can't remember. I watched it with my 2-year-old. But you've done that. You've thought, there should be something here that does this, but nothing does.
Yeah.
You made a decision, though. Okay, I'll do it then. And presumably that was a point where you thought, right, do I need somebody who can build websites? Do I need somebody who can build databases? How do I process that amount of information?
And that's why it's took years. It was, I started this and started Chasing the Stigma purely from my own experiences. And I was honest with myself and honest with everybody else that I'm going to take my time. I'm going to make sure I do things right. And I'm going to learn along the way. But every time I spoke about this idea, people were saying, people have been talking about this for years, but it's never happened. And I said, well, I will do it. I will make sure it happens. And I'm incredibly grateful to Studio Mashbo, or Mashbo as they're now known, who are a creative design company based in Liverpool. And we met And straight away they bought into the idea. They said, we'll make this happen with you. And they have been incredible in building the Hub of Hope, and working alongside me when I've been impossible to work alongside. Some of the things that I was coming up with didn't even make sense, but they still, I mean, the colour scheme of the website, I think I asked for soft vibrancy. What that literally doesn't exist, but they've done it. And we've created the Hub of Hope, which is one national database containing as many organisations as possible across the country where you can go and you can get help. The grassroots organisations are not necessarily NHS, the places where you can go, you can be with people, you can speak to people. It's not to replace doctors, it's not to replace counselling, it's to work alongside them. And the response that we've got is incredible. At the moment, at time of launch, we will have just over 600 organisations nationally on there. We've got a backup of probably at least another 500 to go on there. And we're just going to continue to build it. The problem with it and what we're trying to achieve is that it is hard to find the help that's available. So we're having to go out and find that help. So if anybody does offer any help, they can come to us. They can register their details on the hubofhope.uk, and we will make sure that you go on there. And what it is, it's just a platform to show you the help that's available.
You go onto it, hubofhope.uk. It's not .com, it's not .co.uk, hubofhope.uk. And it simply says there's always someone to talk to. Find nearby services, and then you can hit the locator, which will basically find out where you are if you allow it to, or find by postcode. So if I just type in the Tower postcode here, L11RL, instantly comes up Young Persons Advisory Service, Women's Health Information and Support Centre, Samaritans of Liverpool and Merseyside, the Yellow House, Quiet Space, Liverpool Hearing Voices and Paranoia Group, Imagine Independence based on Hope Street, Mary Seacole House based on Upper Parliament Street, Response based in Birkenhead. We're all mine straight away there.
Yeah,
that's it. I've suddenly got a whole range of services that might be relevant to somebody who's looking for them. And
that's what we're trying to do, is that we're trying to change that narrative. The narrative out there is that mental health provision is lacking, and it's it needs drastic change and needs drastic investment, and that's true and that's right, and it absolutely does. We need that support, but nobody else is saying, but there is help available. There is a lot of people who can help you. And yet they need more support, but they do already exist. And that's all I want to do, is to say to people, you never, ever, ever have to suffer alone. There's always someone to talk to, whether that's Samaritans who 24 hours, who we've got a link direct to, or it's these groups that meet weekly or maybe monthly, but there's always someone who you can talk to. There's always help.
You were kind enough to give me a preview of this website sort of before the launch, and I was sharing the idea with somebody who had somebody in the family who suffered from bipolar, and he typed in the postcode to his address and found that there was a bipolar organisation which ran a regular service in the church hall, which was basically at the end of his street. And I thought, that's a perfect example. That was the first person I showed it to, and that was a perfect example of how it works.
And that's literally that. I mean, that just makes me feel like we're doing something good, actually. Maybe, we are onto something here. Because, as I said, the help already exists, and I'm not doing anything new or different in that. I'm just telling you who they are. It's a very, very simple idea. The one thing that we are concerned about, or our main concern, is that we don't want the information to go out of date. So we've got our own system where we will nobody appears on the Hub of Hope without us putting them on there. So if you register your details, you have to come through to us. We will check all those details. We'll make contact with everyone who appears on that. And we've got our own system where it will flag up every couple of weeks or months, and we will get in contact with people again to make sure that everything is still up to date. The last thing we want is for information to be wrong on there, because we know how dangerous that would be. But
on the website, people click on the organisations just so people know. It then follows through with a map. So I've got Wirral Mind, the Fountain Project. Wirral Mind, affiliated with the National Mind Organisation, was established in 1967 to help people in our local community achieve better mental health. The organisation has an excellent track record and over 40 years' experience in providing services to adults in our local community with mental health problems and learning disabilities. Wirral Mind services have developed in direct response to unmet needs within our community and are free and open to all. Telephone number 0151 ... website, email, and the address itself, and also sort of like hotkeys, if you like, or hot words of that they might be able to help you out with. In this case, loneliness, depression, counselling, and advice and support. So, and then people can do what they want with that information.
Yeah, and what's kind of key in what we're trying to do as well is that, yeah, this is the first of its kind in the UK, and we're not restricted to age or gender. This is for mental health across the board. It's one place for everybody to come to. It's just literally to make it as easy as possible to find the help that already exists.
Does this happen anywhere else in the world? Any other examples that you've seen where you've seen sort of good processes in this regard?
Not kind of across, not nationally. So there are places that do this type of thing locally. So Health Watch, for example, will do it in different regions across the country, but nowhere that I'm aware of anyway is pulling everybody together in one place, and certainly not of all ages and gendered as well.
So if people want to get involved and maybe as an organisation want to sign up as well, they can do so through the website hubofhope.uk. Is it based in a server somewhere? Is it based in a cloud somewhere?
It's, yeah, Mashbo are looking after all that. I just get the information through and have to process it. But the idea is just that we can all be together in one place, and that's why I want to kind of get that out, that there's nothing, there's no catches or anything there. It's literally just a platform to tell us who you are and tell people who you are, and yeah, it's just to make it as easy as possible to find.
And there is a talk now option on the homepage of the website. Just to explain what happens when you click on that button.
So the talk now option will always be there. Also, whatever in the actual database itself, it doesn't just contain local organisations, it contains national organisations as well. So if you are somewhere where we don't have anything for you, or anywhere at the moment, for where you live, you'll always get a result. You'll always get something, and that will be a national organisation. But the Talk Now button will be on every single page that you're on, and if you click that, you can be put straight through directly to the Samaritans, or it's got the email address for the Samaritans as well. And the reason being is that they are there 24 hours. There's literally always someone to talk to.
And that's a type-in service, or is that a phone service as well?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
People can find out more information about the Hub of Hope. Gets its official launch on Wednesday. We've got the preview, though, the exclusive on Mental Health Monday. This Monday, hubofhope.uk. Jake, it's something you've been working on for quite some time. Congratulations on it. It's up and running as well. Let's hope when people start clicking on it, the servers work and all that. But like you say, you've already washed your hands of the technical side of things. It's absolutely brilliant, and we really appreciate you coming on the programme and telling us about it today. hubofhope.uk. Jake Mills is the man behind it. What's next for Chasing the Stigma?
Well, we've got a very exciting campaign that's launched today as well. We have got Gary McQueen, who's fashion designer, nephew of the late Alexander McQueen. He's agreed to be an ambassador for the charity, but he's launched a series of cards, which you've got in front of you at the moment, Mick, which are aimed at, it's a campaign called Are You OK? It's with thoughtful.com. And the idea is that you will send these cards to someone who you're worried about, who might be having kind of difficulties with their mental health. And it's just a way of broaching that conversation, really. There's nothing in these cards that a kind of you would associate with mental health. It's a design made exclusively by Gary McQueen in dedication to Alexander McQueen. And it's just it's a way of broaching that conversation to say, are you okay? But what was really important, why they chose us, because we're the official charity for this. 100% of profits will go to Chasing the Stigma. And why they've chosen us is that they're asking the question, are you okay? But if they get the answer back, no, you can use Chasing the Stigma and the Hub of Hope to direct people. If they say, no, I'm not okay, you can say, okay, well, here's where you might be able to find some help.
The images of this are quite striking, like something you get in like a boutique.
Yeah, I mean, like,
hotel.
we met.
Five-star hotel.
We met in London, and these are actually the designs of his scarves that he's done. And I sat there with a McQueen, looking at scarves. And as a lad who's from Croxteth, I didn't ever think I would do that. I wouldn't wear them, but I put them on my wall.
Where can people buy them?
You can go to thoughtful.com/are you okay?
And is that thoughtful, THORT?
THORT, yeah.
Thoughtful. Slightly different spelling.
Yeah. But it's on Chasing the Stigma's website.
It's correctly spelled incorrectly. Chasing the Stigma, type that in and you get all the information. But hubofhope.uk is the place to go. Jake Mills, pleasure to see you in the studio. Pleasure to get you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Radio City Talk. Tackling the stigma.
We're talking mental health on Mental Health Monday, and we've got a couple of guests in the studio who are going to be telling us about a scheme which is up and running, which looks at perinatal mental health support. We're going to be hearing all about it, the great work that's being done, but also how people can get involved in this service as well. We're joined in the studio by Catherine Bryce, who's the Project Delivery Manager for the Parents in Mind scheme in Halton. Catherine, thank you for your time. Great to see you.
Thank you for having us, Mick.
And Michelle Xenofontos, who's one of the coordinators and volunteers as well. Michelle, it's great to see you. Thank you for your time too. What do we mean by perinatal mental health support, first and foremost?
The perinatal period, Mick, is, it sounds really sort of sciencey and jargony, and basically all it is from when mum conceives and finds out that she's pregnant right up until baby is 12 months old. So that is the perinatal period. It's pregnancy and then that first 12 months afterwards.
Because people will have a presumption or imagine that postnatal is when the mental health concerns appear, that postnatal depression, PND, it's a phrase that a lot of people know, but perinatal takes in the period before as well.
It does. So as I say, from mum finding out that she's pregnant, our service is available for mums throughout pregnancy and then into that first 12 months till baby's 1 year old.
How soon into a pregnancy can women start to experience mental health problems that they might flag up as being a potential issue?
I would argue that mum could perhaps have those historical mental health issues anyway, and that they could be sort of reignited, if you like, by anxiety regarding pregnancy and things. But I mean, we would be interested in mums even if they were sort of at a point where they were looking to become pregnant and there were issues there in terms of anxiety and whatever, that they were working with their healthcare professionals, and that they potentially be flagged up to us that they're looking to conceive, so that once they are pregnant, we could perhaps start to work with them.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what, you mentioned anxiety there as a potential issue, presumably long-term depression and things like that as well. Those are the main streams that you're dealing with?
The service that we offer is for mums who are experiencing mild to moderate mental health or emotional difficulties during that period that we've suggested. We've sort of across our region, we have other measures in place for mums who have got moderate to more severe difficulties, but the Parents in Mind service is for mums with mild to moderate mental health or emotional difficulties. That's where our volunteers are really trained to be at their very best.
And I guess as well, people often talk about timeframes when it comes to mental health, and sometimes there's waiting lists and things like that. It's one of the issues that you guys deal with, the fact that if you're pregnant, there is a definitive timescale and time frame that we're talking about. There is a period where you're going to be period, and that there is a date where a baby, all being well, is going to arrive. So your time frames are slightly skewed compared to, I imagine, to other services.
In terms of being reactive and there and on the ball, absolutely. Yeah. And we're at this moment in time we're a very small service, and we hope to expand and recruit more volunteers and sort of our name to be passed around amongst healthcare professionals quite readily as we move forward. As not a chance to discuss it, but this is a pilot project, so it is quite small, and we're sort of looking at embedding it and expanding it. But the very heart of this is it to very much be sort of an intervention that is there as immediately as we possibly can get to mum, and that idea of going through sort of your healthcare professional and those waits that are sort of commonly associated with accessing things through those channels don't really exist with us, or we certainly like to think that they won't exist, and we would hope to contact a mum certainly within 5 days of hearing that she needs us, really. Yeah,
I'm going to ask Michelle about her experiences in just a couple of moments, but in terms of the pilot project there that you mentioned there, people who've gone through that process of becoming pregnant and having a child will know you meet many different people, clinician types, community types as well. This pilot project is about sitting down with, let's go, average people, normal people.
Absolutely.
Not people with a million letters after their names.
Exactly.
In an environment that people could understand.
That's the very, very, very important heart of what we're offering here. It's peer support. It's not counselling. It's not an authority figure coming in who's read all the textbooks and got all the qualifications. It's a real person. And the absolute beauty of this project is that all of our volunteers have lived experience of mental health or emotional difficulties in that perinatal period themselves. They have walked the walk. They're not just talking the talk. They are there to sit alongside somebody and hear them. And as you know, we've said at many stages when we've been putting this project together, lots of people are very fortunate and have wide networks of support from their families and whatever, which is wonderful. Some of us perhaps not so fortunate and don't have that. But regardless of your home setup, we all have busy lives, and as much as your partner or your mum or whatever might really care about you, when you are offloading and sort of pouring your heart out to them, they're very often texting at the same time, or they're emptying the dishwasher, or they're trying to bath your little one. And that thing of somebody taking 2 hours out of their week, who is totally non-judgmental, has been there and bought the T-shirt, who can sit and look you in the eye and just hear you, is so empowering and such a real kind of weight, we hope to think, off the shoulders of the ladies that we're working with.
Let's bring Michelle into this one. Michelle, in your experience, how does this work? How can this work? What's the difference that it can make?
For me personally, I suffered with postpartum psychosis after my first child. I was very, very lucky to be sent to a mother and baby unit, so I had really, really excellent experience. And 12 years later, when I had my next child, I was suffering again, not as severe, but I was told that the waiting list was 56 weeks, which is obviously over a year. Luckily, because I already have mental health services in place, I was able to get seen that very week. So when this pilot scheme landed in my inbox, as a sort of a branch chair, it was sent out to all the branch chairs across the country. Apply for this scheme if you think you're interested. So I put in all my personal experiences, the amount of time that I personally had to wait, and how much this could benefit parents in our area. Because I know from my own experiences that it's not easy to get help. It's not easy to ask for help. Absolutely. And we've found that because all of our peer supporters have that personal lived experience, just sort of chatting to them, it's nice to know that somebody's not just going, yes, yes. They really do understand and feel what you're going through. Can you
give us a sense of what it feels like to be in that position? What's your thought processes of a morning, say, when you wake up?
So for me, I've a wide range of mental health experience. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 1999. So I've lived experience for a very long time. So I could wake up one morning and just think, I don't want to be here today. My kids will be better off without me. Or I could wake up and think I'm the queen of the world because I've got all this energy. I might be suffering psychosis. But to be able to pick up the phone or to send a text message or an email to say, I need some help, for me, just our group of peer supporters have been fantastic. So I could pick up the phone or send a message and one of them would be there just to listen. So without having to go to a doctor, sometimes you just need somebody to listen and say, I'm here for you.
I was going to ask you about that one because, of course, if people do need to see a medical professional, then I guess, absolutely, you do your best here to advise them to go and see that. But how helpful can it be when you've got that network around you to take away some of the strain from those services, to work amongst yourselves to get the answers that you're looking for amid a peer group?
Yeah, I think it for me personally, it's been fantastic to have support of peers and to sort of, I've got my GP, I've got a psychiatrist, there's community mental health, they're all really, really good. But to have somebody that can just kind of hold your hand metaphorically and know what it's like to walk down that road, it's just a million times different. Yeah, a doctor can say, here's a tablet, here's a course, here's a counsellor. But to have somebody just sit next to you and go, yes, I understand, it means a lot.
In that period, did you experience, Michelle, I mean, people talk about the word mindfulness a lot. It's a phrase that we use, just having a general positive mental health. Do you find that with pregnancy, with a newborn, comes a level of isolation that some people will naturally struggle with, that they might just lose connections with certain friends, the regular Friday night out down the pub doesn't really happen? Yeah.
You find that, you have children at different times to your friends and your peers. So whilst Jenny down the road had a baby 5 years ago. You're having a baby now, and they've gone back to work. Their children are at school, and you're kind of like, where do I go? That's why us as NCT in general come in. NCT support the first 1,000 days, which is up to age of 2. So we run sort of local baby groups and things that people can come along to, as well as Parents in Mind, and just meet new mums and have that friendship, really, isn't it?
And in terms of those connections, when they get made, what does it feel like? Does it feel like a chat among friends?
Yeah, I was just discussing this with Catherine, that sort of our group of volunteers, we have Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups. I said, and sometimes it'll be, we've got such a thing to organise today. And other times it'll be, I had a really bad night with the baby last night, or my husband did this, or I've got a bill to pay, just really general. I said, and in the 2 years that I've volunteered with NCT, I've made real, genuine friends.
And actually, do you find that those sort of moans that you have, where it's just like, oh, another day where sleeping with this, another day where X, Y, and Z, if you don't get those things out, if you don't have an avenue for those things, there's a danger that might just become more of a problem over a period of
I do
6
think
months,
just
2
being
years.
able to say, this has happened, and somebody to say, it's completely normal, it does bring it back.
It
makes a huge
absolutely.
difference.
That it's not just me feeling is really important when you've kind of lost that sense of identity of yourself and things like that, because very often, no matter how look forward to your baby is, no matter how much your family is celebrating with you the arrival of this child, and you get all those lovely, nice, shiny new things in that first month and all those visitors, and then everybody stops coming because your baby's 6 weeks old and you need to get on with it, and that's really kind of the time where lots of sort of mental health difficulties can start to arise, because mum's got to, and the whole family have really got to adjust to this new dynamic.
When you get to that kind of 6 week type of period, like you say, everyone's going back to work, people aren't coming, and you're kind of going, I really need some sleep or a hot cup of tea. And it's having somebody there to say, here's a hot cup of tea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the service itself can be self-referred into, and we'd love to think that if a mum started to feel a little bit low at whatever point in that perinatal period, that we're here, and you don't need to. You can go through your GP health visiting or midwifery, but you can self-refer, and family can refer into us as well.
So let's talk about referrals then. So if somebody's listening to this and thinks, that might be relevant for me, my daughter, whoever, somebody that I know. How do they get in contact with you? And then we'll touch on as well how people can maybe, if they've had that experience in the past, get involved first and foremost. But first and foremost, let's talk about the mums. How do they get in contact with you? What will happen when they pick up a phone or drop you an email?
Okay, well, as I mentioned earlier, it's a pilot project at the moment, so we're working across Halton, so the service is available in Widnes and Runcorn. If anybody would like to access the service and they're from outside of that geographical boundary, they are welcome to. It's just that the service is running from within Halton, so our expertise at the moment in terms of midwifery is within Halton, but the groups are accessible to anyone sort of within the Northwest, provided they're willing to travel to within Halton. If they would like to get in touch with us or find out any more information after today, you can find us on Facebook, searching under Parents in Mind, or if you Google NCT Parents in Mind, there are lots of contact details on there. In the first instance, what would happen is I could contact parent or the family member that had requested the referral via email or via a phone call. We'd have a little chat and we'd see where mum was up to. Then we'd have a meet with mum and explain the service and what we can offer her, and look at in terms of venues, locations, what's available and what's convenient for her. And then we would match her with a group and with a volunteer. And as I say, because we've got a real nice breadth of experience within our volunteers in terms of their own mental health journey, it's really nice because we can quite uniquely match our mums with our volunteers in terms of common experience.
And then can it be quite informal in terms of how you then go about having regular meetings, regular catch-ups?
Yeah, at the moment we have group meetings, so there's 2 or 3, isn't there, peer supporters at each group. There's tea and coffee available, biscuits, so it's, come in, have a drink, and, some people might want to sit on the outside for the first week. They might not want to share their active experience, which is absolutely fine, but when they're ready to share their experience, then we're happy to listen to them.
Catherine, is one of the things that you face that idea that if you are struggling as a new parent in particular, and you're thinking, my child hates me, or there's no connection there and I'm struggling and there's a real problem, the idea of picking up and contacting someone saying, I need help, there might be a fear from some parents who might think, I might be assessed and people might think the child will be taken away from me, or that, that people will show up and, and take some severe action as a result. What you're saying is that actually this is a really sort of personable service. There's none of that kind of assessment as well. It's about finding people in the right place.
Of course it is. We are there for parents. We're not there to look for a problem or find anybody out. We're there to handhold, to support, to chat, to be a friend that perhaps they just need at that time. Obviously, we've got all of our volunteers are well trained in terms of safeguarding and making sure family is safe. But otherwise, we are there as a friend and just to reach out, really. So there's absolutely no need to be in fear of anything of that nature.
And when you originally asked for people to get involved in terms of the volunteers, presumably Michelle's CV came up and you were like, wow, this is the perfect example of somebody that we're looking for.
It is. Well, to be fair, Michelle actually pioneered getting this funding into Halton because, as I say, 3 sites have been selected nationally to run this in the first instance. It's funded by the Department of Health, and this site was selected because of the strength of the application that Michelle put together. And she said, I have lived mental health in this area and I know what we need, and this service is absolutely crucial and at the heart of what we need in Halton and potentially across the Northwest. So I didn't need to recruit Michelle. Actually, Michelle recruited me. I wouldn't be in post if it wasn't for Michelle's passion and the journey that Michelle's been on. But as I say, Michelle is sort of standing shoulder to shoulder now with our other volunteers who are absolutely phenomenal in terms of it's quite staggering and quite touching for me when I think the time they've given up and the hoops that they've jumped through to complete training, to do all the things that we've asked them over the last sort of 2 or 3 months, and all the training that they've received has been accredited by the Open College Network. So it's nice sort of going forward as a career progression, they can use the training that they've had for future career or whatever.
Well, I was going to ask you, what do volunteers get out of it outside of just helping out, really? Well,
as I say, they do this training qualification. So we do 10 weeks of sort of 3 hours face-to-face tuition, but it's actually 60 hours worth of study, and by the end of which they get that Open College Network accredited level 2 training, which can be applicable going forward into perhaps counselling services or lots of other areas that are linked to this. But like I said, aside from all that, the thing that you can't teach is the absolute passion that all of our peer supporters have for getting to women at that crucial time before things spiral, before they end up incredibly poorly, is reaching out. And as I say, you can't teach that. That's something that they've been willing to do the training, jump through the hoops, turn up every week, do the coursework. They've done all that because they absolutely care and it matters to them to be there and to really offer that basic befriending, really.
And what for you is the goal, if you like, of Parents in Mind? What's the achievement, do you think, from projects like this and making projects like this work?
Initially, to break down any stigma attached to mental health difficulties in this period, and to make mums feel less alone and go, you know what, it's blooming hard work and there's no shame in sharing that, and we've all been there, and it's nice to sit down in a room and whatever with like-minded people who'll give you a cup of tea and just chat with you and go, yeah, I've been there as well, it's blooming hard work.
I guess as well, you go to the British Legion and people swap all war stories as well.
Exactly.
I guess with mums, it's a similar kind of experience because, there are all sorts of things as a new parent, as a pregnant mum as well. Michelle, thank you for your time today. Thanks for coming. Thank you for sharing your stories. Parents in Mind, if you type that into Facebook, you'll get all the information. Or if you Google NCT Parents in Mind, if you want to get involved in that scheme as a volunteer, but also if you want to find out some more information about the work that it does as well. And thank you for your time, both of you, for coming on the programme today.
Thank you, Mick.
Catherine Bryce and Michelle Xenofontos from Parents in Mind, based in Halton at the moment. It sounds like a project which could be rolled out right across the country. Certainly, if Michelle's got anything to do with it, it will be. You're with Radio City Talk. It's Mental Health Monday.
Mental Health Monday on Radio City Talk. Tackling the Stigma.
Great to be part of the launch of the Hub of Hope. Officially actually gets its launch there on Wednesday. We've got it first, and you've heard it here first on Mental Health Monday. Thanks for checking us out on Radio City Talk today. Mental Health Monday is also available as a podcast. If you're listening to it as a podcast, you already know that. Thank you. Please do share it with your friends through your social media if possible. You can also rate it as well. Anything above 3 stars, we're absolutely happy with that. Mental Health Monday back next week. If you've got a story that you want to tell, email me. Email address never changes. It's simply mick@radiocity.co.uk. That's mick@radiocity.co.uk. And Mental Health Monday, all the information you can find on the website, radiocitytalk.co.uk. Thanks to the team as well for Parents in Mind for getting involved in this week's show. Mental Health Monday, back next Monday.
Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
This is Radio City Talk.